Number 5. The wax trap from Spiral. Angie is drugged by the pighead killer and wakes up strapped to a metal table with a piece of cloth covering her face. Once the game begins, boiling hot wax starts dripping directly onto her head. The only way to save herself is the blade positioned beneath her neck. She must sever her own spinal cord in order to survive. She fails. As she struggles in agony, the molten wax slowly cooks her entire head. The scene resembles meat wrapped in foil and left to roast. Water torture alone has been considered one of the cruelest forms of torture in history, and this trap turns it into an extreme version using molten wax instead of water. The pain here is not caused by a single burn. The hot wax continuously covers the skin, sticks to the body, and keeps transferring heat. The skin, muscles, and even nerves are gradually cooked alive. At the same time, the blade beneath her neck keeps cutting deeper as her involuntary movements force her body against it. What makes this trap especially horrifying is that the pain constantly escalates. It does not peak immediately. It grows worse second by second until death finally ends the torture. Unfortunately, no behind-the-scenes footage for this sequence has been publicly released. Instead, we'll include part of the actress's interview discussing the trap.
It's horrifying. It's not only horrifying from a physical standpoint, but from a mental standpoint. I think it's because the traps hit you on both that mental and physical plane that makes them so visceral and addictive.
Number 4. The Pound of Flesh Trap from Saw 6. Eddie and Simone, two loan sharks, are forced into one of Jigsaw's games. The rules are simple. A scale stands between them, and whoever cuts off more flesh from their own body survives. Eddie, weighing over 200 pounds, appears to have a major advantage. He cuts 3 large pieces from his stomach and believes victory is guaranteed. But Simone proves to be far more ruthless. After several attempts to keep up, she ultimately chops off her entire arm and wins the game. Eddie loses, and the tightening bolts attached to his head crush his skull. The most painful aspect of this trap is Simone's arm. Throughout the game, she cuts into the same arm 3 separate times. As the balance shifts, she repeatedly changes the location of each cut, first using a small knife before finally resorting to a meat cleaver. It almost feels as if the arm no longer belongs to her. The tools provided by Jigsaw are deliberately inefficient, forcing the victims to endure prolonged cutting instead of quick amputation. The idea of severing your own forearm with a cleaver is almost impossible to imagine. The level of pain involved would be extreme. The production relied heavily on silicone prosthetics for this sequence. For Eddie, the effects team created a fake torso section covering the chest and stomach. 3 removable flesh pieces were embedded into the prosthetic and carefully blended with artificial skin. Although invisible on camera, the actor could physically feel the edges of those sections and had to cut them away using a real sharp knife during filming. For Simone's arm scene, 2 separate prosthetic arms were used. The first prosthetic only extended to the wrist. The reason the hand is still able to move during the cutting scene is because another actor was hidden beneath the table. A hole built into the tabletop allowed the hidden actor's real hand to connect seamlessly with the fake arm, creating the illusion that the arm was still alive and moving. The fully severed arm shown afterward was an entirely different full-length prosthetic arm. Number 3. The razor wire trap from Saw. Paul, a middle-class man with suicidal tendencies, becomes one of Jigsaw's test subjects. Jigsaw doubts whether he truly wants to die, so he locks him inside a room filled with razor wire. The rules are simple. If Paul truly wants death, he can do nothing. If he wants to survive, he must escape within 2 hours. Evidence shows that he tried, but in the end, he fails. His body is covered in deep wounds, and stomach fluid is spread across the floor. This was the very first trap game shown in the entire Saw series. Paul spends 2 full hours struggling naked through the razor wire maze, making it one of the longest single trap experiences in the franchise. The pain of each individual cut is not especially intense, but the duration is extreme. For 2 hours, the wire continuously slices into his body. Every movement, every breath, every attempt to escape creates new wounds. This trap represents low-intensity pain sustained over an extremely long period of time, similar to prolonged torture. This iconic razor wire trap was filmed inside a basement that director James Wan reportedly discovered while exploring a warehouse. All of the visible razor wire was actually made from rubber. During filming, the actors' movements inside the trap were also much slower than they appear on screen. Through camera movement, editing, speed adjustments, and sound design, the sequence was made far more intense and unsettling for the audience. Number 2, the rack trap from Saw 3. Timothy becomes one of Jigsaw's test subjects after accidentally killing a child in a drunk driving incident. He is strapped to a large crucifix-like machine with his limbs and head tightly restrained. Over the course of 60 seconds, the device slowly twists his limbs one by one, forcing bones through the skin as his body is rotated beyond its limits. In the end, his head is completely twisted around, leaving the back of his skull facing forward. Timothy's death is both prolonged and extremely painful. Each rotation causes fractures, torn nerves, and ripped muscle tissue. Within 60 seconds, he experiences this process 5 separate times. He remains conscious throughout the entire ordeal, fully aware of every twist and every break. The pain intensity is extremely high, with almost no time between each stage of the trap. For this scene, 2 different techniques were used to create the twisted limbs. For the arms, special effects makeup was applied directly to the actor to create the illusion of twisted bones and joints. For the legs, the actor's lower legs were hidden, while prosthetic legs were used to complete the effect. The most impressive effect was the 180-degree head rotation. The effects team created a replica of the back of the actor's head, which he wore like a mask over his face, creating the final disturbing visual. Number 1, the bone marrow trap from Saw 10. Valentina is a member of the scam operation, responsible for gaining patients' trust through a gentle and caring persona while assisting with the fake surgeries used to steal their money. In the game, she is strapped to a chair while a wire device aimed at her neck slowly moves closer. To unlock the mechanism around her throat, she must extract a sufficient amount of bone marrow from her own body. But before she can do that, she must first use a wire saw to cut through her own leg. Screaming in agony, she successfully severs the limb and begins extracting the marrow. However, before the timer expires, the required amount is still not reached. The wire tightens and slices her head off. This is arguably the most painful and prolonged trap in the entire Saw series. The trap consists of 2 stages. First, she must saw through her own leg using a wire saw, which alone would already be unbearable. But the true horror comes from the bone marrow extraction itself. Bone marrow is located deep inside the bone, protected by almost no cushioning tissue. When the extraction device penetrates into the bone, the pain becomes deep, internal, and overwhelming, an extreme form of nerve-level stimulation. The extraction process continues for nearly 40 seconds. It stands as the unquestionable number 1. For this sequence, the production relied heavily on life-size dummies and prosthetic limbs. During the leg sawing scene, the actress's real leg was hidden inside the chair. The leg being cut was actually a detailed prosthetic designed to perfectly match her real one, complete with concealed blood tubes for the spraying effects. For the final decapitation shot, the actress was completely replaced with a full-body dummy. Using highly realistic silicone prosthetics, artificial limbs, and large amounts of blood effects, the production created one of the most graphic and physically disturbing scenes in the franchise.